I think the biggest obstacle to success is a lack of optimism. That question in itself is the problem, my friend, right? You're looking at two things that are both negatives, and guess what? Both of them are obstacles. When I started WineLibrary.com, transformation from my business, I had time. I worked my face off every minute, but we didn't have a whole lot of money in our profit center, so it took more time, right? It's just the way it is. Today, I have more money, but boy, don't I have time. But neither, ever, will be an excuse for me. And so, just to drill this through the throat of the Vayner Nation, that's right, I went that graphic. Don't smile, D-Rock. Here's the bottom line. I refuse to allow you to get an answer to that question because both of them are firmly square in the excuse column, and I have no patience for that. There will always be problems. Let's talk about a million other things that are a way to stop success. The health and well-being of your family members, so it takes your mind away from execution. The country you live in's government and political, concepts at these moments, a la startups in China that I've invested in that got traction, but then people that were wired into the government decided to not allow it to happen, and then the startup disappeared. Not as easy to be an entrepreneur there. It's still a communist country. Sorry, it just is. And so all these things can be problems, right? There's a competitor with $1 billion who's also skilled and punches you in the mouth and knocks you out in the first round, right? The world changing. I mean, there's just a million obstacles, right? The media, one bad coverage of you, a moment in time. You know what I think about a lot? Let's get really real. This is why we did this show. I'm a human being. And I always think about a moment in time. What if I just say the wrong thing at the wrong time, right? What if I call out China for being a communist country in an episode while I'm on a rant and somebody who's watching doesn't like the way that tastes and it takes away a business opportunity for me in China in 7 years, even though I'm not trying to zing, it's just things that I saw. What if I look down on my phone while I'm driving, even though I've really not done that, and I hit somebody and I kill them, and that becomes the story. And they're like, forget about the story about what you think of me. I will never recover from that because I killed somebody because I needed to check a tweet. These are moments in time. So there are so many things that can keep you from being successful, right? The people that you invested in, having something happen to them, so it slows you down. My friends, there are a million reasons why not, but there's one great reason why, which is you've just got to persevere, no matter what it is. It's just the way it is. It's hard being an entrepreneur. It's hard building a business. Everybody thinks it's so easy, that there's an entitlement. There's a disaster. Zinging China, here comes my US zing right now. There is an insane generation of 18 to 25-year-olds right now that think they're entitled to having a business because they saw the Social Network movie and everybody's decided if you're a kid and you know what tech is, because you used Instagram early on, you're entitled to actually build a business. Building a business is hard. And you know what makes it really hard? Everything that happens every day of every moment. So, you can pick time, you can pick money as the one or two things that you think stop you from winning your game, but the truth is, there's a million reasons. 99% of businesses go out of business for a reason, and that reason is, it's hard. And so, if you're watching this show, I've got a sense of who you are, and you need to start creating layers and layers and layers and layers of skin to be able to get through, because the glamour of being an entrepreneur, the goodness. You get very confused by my optimism because it's my optimism. I can't help it. It's just how I roll. It's probably one of the variable 1% reasons why I'm successful. But please, don't get it twisted. This is hard. Every day is hard. And if you don't have the stomach to weather the storm, you will not be successful. And by the way, let me throw you a real weird curveball, and that's okay. People have to look themselves in the mirror and understand if they're a number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in an organization that has differences of being a number 1, but maybe that's where your skill set sits. Maybe that's how you make your fortunes and happiness and all the things that you're looking for. And so, that question got me going a little bit, Steve, because it's under the context of excuses, and I will never make an excuse. Everything that's a problem with me, everything I don't achieve, everything that's a problem at VaynerMedia, and everything is my fault. And I succumb to that, and I respect that, and I actually think that's the way it should be. And so, no excuses, my friends. So many people are talking about, I can't monetize. There's a billion 70-year-old douchebags that are in control right now. But the number 2 person, that 34-year-old lady, she's gonna buy your shit. She's gonna put the advertising on your stuff. It's coming. Stop crying and just keep hustling. Hustle is the most important word ever. And that's what you need to do. You need to work so hard. Guys, we're building businesses here. This isn't about parties. We're building businesses. I used to work in a liquor store from 7 in the morning to 10 at night for 7 straight years, and the only days off I took were to watch the New York Jets. And you know what that did? It made me throw up on myself, so that wasn't a vacation. And that gave me a platform. That was a stepping stone. The reason I was able to start Wine Library TV was because I built up this business that gave me the equity, the cash flow to do it. You need to hustle. You have to have a business model. I mean, getting a crap load of users and then flipping it is not a business model. Make some cash along the way. Thank you for clapping. Make some cash along the way. Early on in one's career, and definitely I watch a lot of people that don't understand what's happening now, is the value of your thoughts can be extreme. So I highly recommend thinking about putting your thoughts out to the world in whatever way you communicate, whether through audio podcast or written form for Medium or video blog. If you're thinking about entrepreneurship, if you're thinking about trends, if you're thinking about business, you're literally just one 3-minute read on a Medium away from creating a huge gateway drug to a lot of opportunity if your thought is deemed as smart or forward thinking or different by another thought leader or somebody who's got an opportunity. And I'm surprised, I think this is very residual from the way it used to be in the world of patents and ideas. I love when, my assistant's got a great thing now in this. Once in every 4 months, somebody sends an email saying, I've got a huge startup that I want you to invest in, but you've got to sign this NDA, right? Which literally every time gets an email back that says, fuck you, right? And the reason is, I'm a humongous believer that ideas are shit and that execution's the game, right? We've all got ideas. Everybody's got ideas. Do you know how many fucking ideas we all have here? We could probably sit here for the next 2 hours, draw them all out, record them, and predict the next 78 great startups over the next 9 years. And so I think the thing that is another theme in entrepreneurship is there is way too much fodder brought to the idea. Uber was Magic Cab 3 years earlier. Uber is not an idea. Uber existed. It's called Magic Cab. But the guys that executed it sucked, so they lost. So I think, you know, if there's any level of romance left in this room about your idea, I'd like to suffocate it. Because I think the actual situation is what you actually do with it. I think there's massive confusion around entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship sucks. I mean, it's lonely, it's high risk. I mean, I can't live without it, but it's like a bad boyfriend, right? Or girlfriend, right? There's a ton of bad days being an entrepreneur. Not to mention 98% of entrepreneurial ventures are gonna fail. So there's gonna be a really bad fucking day in your future. You know, hopefully not for you, or any of you. You know, for me, I think this is a very personal question. I think it's how you're wired. I'm so all in entrepreneur, I prefer the pain. I think one of the reasons I love the Jets so much is because they bring me so much pain. You know, I love the climb. To me, the setback is exciting. I love when something goes wrong. It's where I shine the most. But that's not for everybody, right? I mean, it can be very difficult. And when you start affecting your life and your loved ones and all the other things, it can get real nasty. To me, the way I handle things, even in the few rare days when I really struggle, I take a real step back and make pretend that somebody called me and told me that my mother or daughter were killed. And I know that's very dark, and I apologize, but it's really what I do. I literally am able to, at my deepest, most struggling moment within business, take a step back and remind myself that I can make $1 trillion tomorrow on Bitcoin, and if something bad happened to the people I love the most, that it would mean nothing. And it very consistently rewires me very quickly. I just put business in perspective. At the end of the day, you know, it's money. For me, it's not really money, it's my legacy, so I get hurt by it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I put it in perspective. It's money. And you know what? Up until I had a daughter, even while I was married, up until when I had Misha 4 years ago, I secretly wanted to lose all my money. I had this weird, twisted, dark fantasy of losing everything just to rise again like a phoenix and remind you motherfuckers. I really did. It was actually, I'm actually glad that's gone, you know?
If that was a hashtag, that'd be like what, sado-capitalistic?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm pure entrepreneur. I believe in capitalism. I like when people go out of business. I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. I believe that. I really do. I really truthfully do. I know it's kind of interesting, but I truly believe like the market is the market. The market is what we should care about. And the consumer is what we should care about. And if the consumer is not being, you know, given what they want, they won't buy. And that means the entrepreneur and the organization missed the boat, and they deserve to lose. Where I think the huge opportunity for every person in this room is not customer acquisition, because I promise you, it's going to be a bigger commodity in 5 years than you think. The game for everybody in this room is the game that's always been the game, but it's super not sexy, it's not really fast, and nobody really wants to do it, which is retention. Retention's the game, my friends. The game in business is not how many customers you can get, it's how many you can keep. The game for me is not acquisition, it's lifetime value and the percentage of wallet that I get from that person. We are thinking about things in a very American way. More, fast, want, and it's great, and I love it, and that entrepreneurial spirit really matters, but I'm telling you right now, there are way too many data nerds that are really fucking smart that are figuring this shit out. I knew my goose was cooked a couple years ago when I'm the best wine marketer in the world at the time. I don't fucking care if you felt like that was an egotistical statement. I was the fucking guy, right? I could write an email and fucking sell and crush and kill every time and was dominating. And then one of my developers came in and said, Gary, I think if you make the add to cart button orange instead of blue, we'll get a huge lift. And I was like, fuck you, nerd. I was like, nerd, you don't tell me. I know the customer. You fucking hit those buttons, dick. But you guys know what happened. Fucker was right. Pissed still. We are now living digitally. We are tracking. We are watching. We're watching every move. There's a little secret that nobody's told you. We collectively don't give a fuck about privacy. They want to tell us we do, but we don't. You know why? You know what the most under-marketed, best brand in the world, but is completely misbranded and is the shittiest brand and the worst marketing towards, but is the best thing in the world? Human beings. The news and the things that you guys consume have convinced you we're bad. Meanwhile, if you look at the data, we're obnoxiously good. It is stunning by data how few bad things happen. But when they happen, you know about them. Every night we're pounded, all the bad things the 0.0000001% of us do. Remember when MySpace and all these social networks came out? Remember when this all came out and the kids were gonna go to the malls and they were gonna get raped because of MySpace? Remember that whole story? Do you know what's really happening? Do you know what's happening in our society? Crime and child crime and kidnapping is going down. Do you know why? Because all of us are media companies. Because what technology is doing and social is doing is we're exposing the shadows of our society. It's kind of hard to steal a kid now when every fucker is doing what you guys are doing right now with your phones. You can't get away with it. And so we're living in a very interesting time. We're living through the single biggest culture shift of our time, and we completely disrespect it. We talk about a lot of the tactics, but when you really understand what the tool that you guys are here on this arena for, what that leads you to, and then what you have to do with that tool, then you start really understanding where business is at.